Okay, now we've got all our materials out together. We're going to start looking at how to mix these colors. So if I take the lid of my mixing, or my palette here, it's just airtight sealed palette. Maybe not perfectly airtight, but with a lid. Let's see if we can start making some of the other colors that are in here. I think we'll go with the orange. So when you start, you don't want to use a whole lot of paint at once. So I'll just add a little bit at a time. And since it does have a little bit of an orange to it, add this yellow. Ooh, it's mighty close. I feel like almost every color has a little bit of all three primaries in it at least. So just the tiniest bit of blue on the tip of my mixer there, and maybe I'll wipe a little bit off so I'm gonna lick it a touch at a time, so you don't want it to go too far. Well, shoot, look. There it is. Got the same color. Pretty close. So let's see. One thing to keep in mind also is that these colors dry a little bit darker than they look when they're wet. So if I put this right here.
Are you voting?
Yep.
Well, I can't.
There you go. You don't have to paint in the whole circle, just show that you've got basically the same color. Actually, as I'm looking at that, I feel like it's going to dry darker still. So I might come in and add just a tiny, tiny touch of white. Also,
Sophie, I don't really want it to. No, you need to click on my character.
okay. So let's try that a second time with a little white in there. Did it go too white? There we go. Yep. And the good thing about acrylic paint is that it dries really fast, and the very difficult thing about acrylic paint is that it dries really fast. When you've got it like pretty close, you can call it a day. I would keep your guesses on another sheet of paper. So if you're trying to do this and you don't want to get it on your actual worksheet yet, you could always come through here and check your paint colors to see if they're going to work like this. Because you can tell when they're next to each other that they're the same color. When you're done with your paints, you take whatever container you're using, close it up, and this paint should last for the entire project. If you need more, you can get more, but you don't need, see how little I actually have in there? Just a little dollop. Make sure that this is closed and that your name is somewhere on here, because you don't want somebody to take it, and put it away in the rose room with all of your stuff. And then with your paintbrushes, every time you're not using a brush, you do want to put it in water, otherwise the paint will dry on the outside of your brush, and that basically kills the brush. However, when you are done with your painting for the day, always take your brush out of the water and dry it, and then place it back in the brush container with the bristle side up. Otherwise, if you put it bristle side down, it dries like this, and nobody wants to use that paintbrush. Make sure that you put everything away. Throw away your paper towel if you're not going to use it again. Make sure you put your cups away. I'm not your mother. You can clean up after yourself. And anything that needs to get turned in, hand to me on your way out the door.